You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network. Visit pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com to find more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello everyone and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host Stephen White. With me as always is my co-host Lacey F. Henley.
Oh, happy Monday. I hope it's a good Monday.
It is a good Monday.
Pretty good. We're getting around. It's actually kind of exciting, but also a little sad because it means I can probably go back to work soon.
I guess that's good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. I'd been saying where I was like, it sucks the reason why I was off work. But damn, have I felt the best mentally in a really long time since I haven't had to go in.
Right.
But yeah. So, I'm definitely better. Stairs are no longer my nemesis, although they're not amazingly fun. But, like, it's just the small things. But, yeah, more games to be played. So, a good amount of time.
For anyone who may not know, I'm alive. We had tornadoes last week.
Yes.
They were dangerously close, but not close enough to tear down my house. So
thank God.
I am one of the fortunate ones outside of some of the other people in this area. And when I say nearby, I mean it literally was in areas that I go to often. Like where I work, it could have been shifted 1 mile. And
that's why I sent you a message when I heard the news. I was like, oh my God, that sounds like exactly his stomping grounds. And I freaked out. I'm so glad you poked me back as soon as you did. Because I was like, I haven't heard from him. I freaking out.
So
I'm so glad you're safe.
The worst part about it is that I did not know it was going on. Like no
sirens or nothing?
No. Like I slept through it. Whatever was going on, and then I wake up the next morning. Of course, I say I woke up. We were awoken by a phone call, and that was like 5 a.m, and we're just like, what are you talking about? What's going on? And they're just like, the interstates are shut down. There's damage everywhere. Bye. And it was like, okay. And then we start looking into it, and we're like, holy shit. Okay, this is bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it was rough.
But you're safe. And
luckily, a lot of my family did not get affected. I did have a cousin whose job was destroyed. Like she sent me pictures, and I was like, "That's terrible."
It's rough. Because it's gonna be tough.
On one hand, you sit there and you look at it, and you're just like, I wonder what it would be like.
Right?
My job got destroyed.
We all envision our jobs burning to the ground, but when it actually happens.
Yeah, but then you realize, well, now you don't really have any way to work and make money, so what do you do? And I understand that there would probably be things in place to, kind of help employees get through it. I would hope. A lot of the people around here are being decent. There are hotels who are offering free rooms to people without homes.
Oh, that's good.
Some of the hospitals are offering free health care.
Oh, God.
A lot of decent, and of course everybody's donating money and taking up supplies and stuff like that. So everybody's being really, really good. So I'm happy to see that. I even threw in my donations. Like I went down to the store the other day, and they laid out a table of items to buy. It was like, hey, do you want to donate? Grab something off the table. I grabbed a handful of things and said, here, take them all. So it's the least I can do. I wish I could do more. I don't know what more I can do, but it's the least I can do.
The best you can do, I guess, is just keep your ear out if there's like some needs that are not being met, that maybe you have too many clothes or too many of this, that, or the other, that you could donate to those who are without, unfortunately, in this tough time. So, if that's a cause you're looking to look into, I always feel good about spending my money or putting stuff towards the actual individuals who were hurt, and to be able to lift them back up if you can. So sorry
Yeah,
to hear
absolutely.
that though, and glad you're safe though, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I just
that was a bad moment for like 10 minutes where I'm like, please just right away answer me back.
please.
You guys don't understand, you see. Like, we talk so much throughout the week that if he doesn't answer me within about a 30-minute time frame, I instantly think something has to be wrong because I just feel I rank that high, you see? So if I'm like, why isn't he checking his messages? It's time for Lace. It's time for me.
Right. Another thing I wanted to touch on real quick is I made an executive decision, and I meant to actually get with you about this, but you were kind of
I think I know what
streaming
you're
it.
talking about. So
Yeah. You were streaming at the moment. So if you go to our Podbean page, everything is now officially Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. There is no Pencil and Paper Podcast Network, so on and so forth. There will be that announcement, but I'm trying to find a way to bring more people to where it's not confusing. And I think
that's fair,
I've
yeah.
kind of jumped the gun, maybe, trying to build something, which I still have all these podcast ideas I'd like to do and bring out into the world. But this is our primary podcast. This is the one that everyone has eyes on mostly. So I wanted to try and streamline that. You will probably see some of the other things during our hiatuses and stuff like that on here, but I'm going to try to find a way to label them as bonus content or something like that. So
Right.
there's no confusion. The more I've thought about it, people could be searching it and they'll say like, well, it says that, but then it says that, and I just don't know.
Right.
So it says that. Now, that said, the address to the Podbean site is still pencilpaperproductions.podbean.com. The only reason I haven't changed that is because if I do, it's going to affect everything. Right
That's what
now,
I was wondering, if it would affect those following or whatnot, you know.
yeah, it's going to throw a monkey wrench in all the other sites. At least this way, if it's out on Podbean or Apple Podcasts, Google, and stuff like that, it's going to shift to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. It's going to be that wholeheartedly. You'll see it, and it may be searching for it will be easier. By the way, did you know we were on iHeartRadio? I didn't know.
I did not.
We are apparently on iHeartRadio. How about that?
Oh, okay. Well, so is that another thing I should like add it at the end? Add,
If you want to.
apparently.
We're everywhere. We're everywhere, if you didn't
people.
know.
There is no excuse if you're not listening right now.
Yeah, but now there's absolutely no excuse because you can find us. Now, this,
Yes.
I don't know if the change has taken place across the board, but it should. So the icon will be different.
We'll be sure to keep putting out posts about it the coming weeks because I've learned you can't say a thing too much. You know, there's always going to be that one person that somehow missed that one tidbit of information. So, how fast info travels online. I don't blame them. It's just like it stuff moves fast.
That's why I wanted to bring it up top because people trail off after a while. But anyway, yeah, it should be out there. So if you say, hey, go check out Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo, Google Super Mega Crash, I guarantee you we're going to be the first couple of pages because I've done it. I've checked it. And we are everywhere.
Yay.
So you have no excuse not to find us on the internet.
Right. There you
Doesn't
go.
matter
We
what
made it.
site. We are everywhere. So
Everywhere,
Super Mega
people.
Crash, boom, you're going to find us.
No excuses.
But- Anyway, what have you been playing?
Oh my god. I wish I had happy tales to tell. Because I think I've decided yesterday that I'm officially retiring from Slay the Spire for a while.
Okay.
It's ruining my life. I feel like I've put in enough time at this point that I just don't apparently have the patience to really play the game well, because I've noticed that if I start it over and I'm like, okay, this time we're going to pay attention and we're going to look at everything and we're going to do the math on all of the stuff and, and then I'll do pretty well. So I'll save it, walk away maybe for like an hour or two or something, come back with fresh eyes when there's one sequence that's just like driving me crazy. and beat it again. So I finally got to the heart. This is the first time that I've gotten to like end game. Okay. And this whole time that I've been talking to you guys about me playing this freaking game. And I don't like the RNG at all. But I've realized, I don't know how random it actually is. I think it's honestly just decided as soon as you start that run. Because, and I'm going to tell you why, and you guys will probably all yell at me for cheesing the game. And I don't care. I'm going to admit to it. I'm going to admit that I do this thing, and I will suffer the consequences. So by accident, I discovered if you hit save and quit in the middle of a game, of a run, that when you hit continue, you're right back at the beginning of that particular mob again with like everything that you had at the start. And this was by accident with me just saving it one night, going to bed, and then come back out. I'm like, oh my God, why am I at the beginning of this fight again? Like all my potions and everything were there. So yeah, so when it starts to look like the next hit's going to kill me, I'm like, save, quit, start over, reanalyze. Like, how do we get through this? I don't care. Yell at me if you want. They made it to work that way, so I'm going to assume it's not a way of cheating. It was just a way of me to like, okay, wait a minute, come back at this again. Like, look at where you went wrong. So now I'm on the heart. And every time I start over, though, like the cards that were dealt to me the first time, it's always those same set of cards. So it is decided which cards are going to get shuffled where, and there's nothing I can do about it. Like, it's not so random that it's just going to change up each time. But the run that I'm in right now, I've gone through like 3 hands, and like all of my blocks keep getting seriously shuffled to the bottom of the deck. And mind you, every time I play a card, I take a damage, one hit point damage. So if I have no block, like if I attack, I'm just killing myself. But he's also going to hit me for 60 health points.
Okay.
So I'm like screwed at the moment. Because like I honestly think I'm just going to have to abandon this run. Because they're not putting like no cards that are helping me is shuffling to the top. And I'm looking in my draw deck and there they all are. They're just not coming out when I need them. So the defect right now has been locked in a room with the heart for about 12 hours. They're having a stare off. I don't know if I have the courage to just abandon the run or if that's just where the defect lives now and will for eternity in my Steam account. But just rage. It's just too much rage. And I think I'm getting over it now. I think I just have to step away. But what's even funnier is like I've infected my entire community with this, and I apologize now to any of my community who's listening. Baz, I'm sorry. I've seen that his life has been ruined over the last 2 days because Discord is constantly telling on him that he's been playing Slay the Spire, and even sent me a message at 6:30 in the morning my time. So I know the sickness is real, and I'm very sorry because I know he's never up that early. Chaka Goatsio, my other wonderful mod, has also been telling me how he's been addicted to it the last 2 days, and I'm sorry. And like 2 other community members have told me the same. So I created a support group in my Discord. If you would like to join, if you are one of those affected by Slay the Spire, you can come to my Discord and we can all support each other and how it's ruining our lives. But that's my one shameless plug. There you go. Anyway, so we're there and we understand. We all know. But outside of that, I actually tried Twitch things again when I went on Twitch last Sunday. And that was a lot of fun because I haven't done it in almost a year. And just the sheer volume of songs that they've added was quite impressive. And it also makes me feel really old because a lot of them that were added, I don't know what they are.
Well,
like they must be like pop songs or something that's come out over the last several years. And I just have no idea. So I keep gravitating towards the like 90s section, the 80s section. I'm like, I know these sort of, you know. So that was a lot of fun. So GG on that. I'm impressed. They finally added Janis Joplin, and that's really all I wanted in life. So I'm good. We got 2 of the songs on there. Maybe there'll be more in the future. The 2 that I wanted, in fact. So that worked out beautifully. Probably the only 2 that people really know, unless you're like a huge Janis Joplin fan, which is another piece of my heart, and Bobby McGee, you know.
Right.
Maybe Zoomers. I heard that's what we're calling them now. Zoomers. Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know how you kids talk. But anyway, the young kids, they might know those 2 songs.
There's new slang for everything all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And you'll figure out why I learned that later on in the podcast. But that's all I've been playing this week. Next week, I promise, guys, we're going to talk about other games out of me because I've got to move on. I've got to. But what have you been playing this week? Feel like you had a nice full one.
Yeah, I did. I've got two. Well, I've got one I'm going to be reviewing later, which you'll probably all know since you've seen the icon and all that stuff. So I won't talk about it, but I will. We'll talk about it later. Primarily, I've been playing The Outer Worlds, and I have really got sucked into that to the point where last night I did something I haven't done in a while, where I played a game and lost track of time. Like, I was so invested in what was going on, trying to do things that I remember looking at the clock and saying, well, I probably need to get to bed, and let me just do a few other things. And then 30 minutes had passed, and I was like, shit, all right, I got to stop now, because I knew I was just going to continue that.
I got to get up.
Yeah, I just got to continue this and continue that, and you're just going to lose more and more time. But no, I'm really getting into it. It's very, and I don't know. I know that a lot of people compare it to New Vegas, but I never played New Vegas. It was outside of my purview at the time of its release.
I think it was because like the developing teams and stuff like that too. They were doing a lot of comparisons between the two.
Yeah, the game is very dialogue heavy. I have noticed that through playing it. I mean, if you want a rich, complex, talkative story, there's no lack of it. I mean, you talk to so many people.
Very story rich.
There's so much. Yeah, I mean, everybody you talk to outside of just nameless residents or workers or whatever they label them. If the person's got a name, good chance they've got a story, they got a mission, they got so many things that they can do. And again, I cannot stress how happy I am that they've limited the scope of each planet. I mean, you're planet hopping, but they keep it contained. And that just makes it so, like, the area I'm at right now is Monarch, which, if you've played the game, you know where I'm talking about. It's probably the biggest planet I've been on thus far. But it still feels contained. Like, it's a wider open world.
See, I don't think I would mind that, though, because that's some of my complaints about, like, open world games. Sometimes I just get too overwhelmed now. Like,
Yeah.
There's so much.
Oh, and this is not a complaint at all. I'm so happy they didn't just say, well, we've got 5 or 6 planets, we got to build an entire planet. No, you don't. Just give me the area in which I need to work in, and that's all I need.
Right.
Because I've got so many other areas to go to, but you're keeping each area fairly contained. Like, there was one planet I went to for a mission, and it was just essentially just one little block of space. That was it. It was like, you go, you take care of whatever mission you got to, and then you're out. There's nothing else to see. And I was like, perfect. I'm glad. I don't need anything else here. It looks like a bland planet anyway, so I'm out. And then I probably won't go back unless they tell me to. But yeah, the side missions and stuff like that, I think that's where it gets even more interesting, story rich, like you were saying. There's just, everybody's kind of compelling, and then those decisions. You know, I'm very careful about my decisions because sometimes I don't know if it's going to be a bad one, if it's going to screw someone over. And they, not all the time, but they will give you, on occasion, they'll give you 2 choices. Like, I think I had one yesterday. It was like this guy, he was talking about his community, and he was like, well, we got to get these printing presses, up and running, and you got to give me the parts, and you got to give me the press, and blah, blah, blah. And then the other lady who was with him, she was like, we need food. We need medical supplies. We need this stuff now. It's like, so later on, you're faced with that question. Do you spend the money on the equipment he's looking for? Or do you spend it on food and medicine? And I was like, well, food and medicine makes more sense. So screw his equipment. And so far, there have not been repercussions, but I was expecting it. Because he could have been like, well, what are you doing? Yeah, because
if you haven't beaten it yet.
I expected to get back to him and he would just be like, why didn't you get what I asked for, and just be mad about it. And I'm like, dude, food and medical, that's what you need for your community. So
you don't want them to die.
Right.
I hope.
So I really like how it all works. And I think the one thing that got me into it more, and this was just something that I don't know why it never occurred to me, or I guess I wasn't thinking about it as much, were my combat, my weapons and everything. Like, I'd been doing okay, but once I got to Monarch, I was getting slaughtered. And I was like, what am I doing wrong here? You know? And I started looking at my armor. My armor was good. And then I started looking at my weapons, and they were way underpowered. And I was like, you know what? I bet you this is the problem. So I wiped out all my arsenal and started looking at new stuff and got all these high power. And then I went back out there and started mowing down enemies. And I was like, okay, now we're good. So
now we got it.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing there. That's been a lot of fun. But that's where I've spent most of my time. I could probably talk about it a lot longer, but I won't, because I would recommend all of you go out there and check it out, because it's a really
Steven
fun
review on that soon too.
Yeah, it's a fun game with great characters. All the reviews, if you've seen them, they're absolutely right.
Yeah, I've heard great things about it.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to do kind of a quick review, I guess, of the other thing I've been playing, because obviously I'm sure everybody who had a PlayStation 4 and has been excited about Final Fantasy VII Remake went and played the demo.
Yeah.
So I played the demo. This is not Final Fantasy VII original recipe. This is a whole new ball game.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, because if you expected you're getting that, obviously you wouldn't, because that's an old PS1 game. And
right.
The idea of what they've done is they said, all right, let's just take the base mechanics and core of what that game was story-wise, I guess, and we're going to redo all of that, new visuals and stuff like that. But when it comes to combat, when it comes to all things like that, we're going to change it up. It's going to be fresh and new. Everything here is like, I don't want to say hack and slash type combat, because in old RPGs, you'd get into a fight, and then you get into the stalemate of you just like move. Okay, now it's your move. Now it's your move.
Right.
Here, it's all real time. We're just slash, slash, slash.
Oh, okay.
At first, when I'm sitting there going through it, I was like, I like this. I really do. When we got to the boss, it got a little bit more confusing. I think it's something that you're, as a gamer with something new like this, the only thing I could really compare it to, I guess, would be Kingdom Hearts. But I feel like there's a bit more complexity to it, because I kept getting disoriented in what I was trying to do.
Does it seem like it kind of plays like 15? Like their latest, I guess, before they started remaking?
Probably. I've never played 15.
Trying to remember what the gameplay I watched on that, because if it was turn-based or not, because I feel like it was more open world, kind of just fighting in real time, kind of.
Right.
Whereas,
and it probably is more akin to that, but again, I can't speak to that because I've never played it.
I didn't know if you had or not.
But the deal here is that you'll still have your party members, and I don't know if they'll go to the 3-party system like in the other games or not. I would assume so, because the way the combat's going to flow, you might need that. But the thing is that since everything's kind of in real-time combat strategy, you have to swap to your other characters to use them, like directly. Now, they will attack, CPU style, and kind of work like that. But if you need something specific, then you have to move over to that character. You have to take control of that character and then make them do the thing that you need them to do. There may be settings. I didn't go into great detail with the options menus and settings and things like that. So you may be able to set them up to do things like in most games. So you can kind of control their behavior when you're not controlling them. But that again was disorienting, because you got so much going on. When I'm saying
it
heavy
looks
action,
chaotic, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much going on. This robot was sitting there just like barreling down missiles, and I'm sitting there going, I'm gonna die. I gotta heal. And then as I'm trying to heal, and I'm trying to run, I'm trying to dodge, and I'm just like, oh my god, please just. And then I kept hitting a button, and I'm sure that there are, again, I'm not accustomed to it yet. I would be hitting buttons, and then I would just get into these menus, and I kept hitting the menu button, and it would pull this up and pull that up, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just need to keep this flowing. That to me was the hardest part about it, was trying to get through that boss fight. I didn't die. but it was just frustrating trying to manage all the chaos.
Yeah.
And they do have a classic mode, I guess, where it still plays the same, but it's a little bit more automatic. So your character stays, I guess, still, and then you can select what you want to do, and then he'll do it. So it kind of plays like an older RPG, but still kind of in the same vein of what you're doing. So I guess that's for beginners or people who are maybe looking for something a little easier to deal with. I personally don't know if I would like that, because I did enjoy getting through the facility before we got to the boss fight, hacking and slashing and doing all that and really trying to feel it up, because it felt natural. It felt great. The controls were solid. It was just that boss fight where I was just like, I don't know what's going on. So I feel like over time, as I play it, I'll get used to it. I'll realize what I need to do, because this was just like jumping in and trying it out and getting a feel for it. So I don't fault it for that. It's just something I'm going to have to get used to. But that would be my only complaint for the game. Beyond that, oh my God, it's gorgeous. Oh my God.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people were loving it. They're pretty excited, man.
Yeah, if you do comparisons to the original, granted, I know it looked like garbage at the time and still does. But, I mean, just when I was like, I think I saw the opening video for it on IGN or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was just no comparison to seeing it on your system, because the graphics are, what they need to be.
Well,
no
we're like
lagging,
3 generations past that, right? So
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just looking at it and the immaculate amounts of detail. You're just like, oh my God, they're so amazing. And then, of course, the voice acting is spot on. I even called one of the actors. I was so happy. I was so proud of myself, because we were sitting there listening to the voice actors. The guy who plays Barrett, this is just a little off the cuff remark. I don't know why they felt the need to make him, I'm Barrett. Brr, 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 brr. I just feel like it's so unnatural. But everybody else sounds great. He's just, I feel like they could have done better with that character. Anyway, there's 2 characters at the beginning, Biggs and Wedge. They're like little side characters in this little group. Wedge started talking, and he just had this very familiar voice. And I was listening to it, and Katrina was sitting there, and she's like, it kind of sounds like, I can't remember who I think she said like Seth Rogen or something like that. I was like, no. And then I heard something in his tone, and I said, you know what he sounds like? He sounds like that guy from Breaking Bad, Weasel, Jesse Pinkman's friend. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's who that sounds like. I look it up. Sure enough, it was him, and I was like, yeah!
Hey, GG.
So, I was proud of that.
Fun.
But
yeah.
Anyway, it's a fun demo for free. If it's something that you would like to check out, you even get a free theme. I think that's what I heard. If you download it, you don't get it now. I think you get it later, because I was looking for it and I was like, "Where's my theme?"
If you buy it?
No. For playing the demo, you'll get a free theme.
Oh, okay.
If you download it,
Right.
so they will offer that to. They'll send that to you later on. You don't get it now, but
Gotcha.
I would if Final Fantasy is something that interests you. Maybe if even the combat interests you in some way, and maybe you've never thought to get into Final Fantasy because maybe the turns-based RPG is not something that's to your liking, maybe give it a shot and see what you think. And if it doesn't hook you within that hour, then, And
I love it when they give you like demos and stuff like that, though, so
Yeah.
you can actually test it out to see,
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll go ahead and admit we're going to be doing a review on that, because I bought it. As soon as I saw it, I was like,
it worked.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah,
Nice.
I'm getting this. Because I already kind of wanted it, but that just sealed the deal. I was like, yep, I got to get this. So
don't bother
there'll be a review when that
Steven
comes out.
the week it releases. Got it, because you'll probably be in it for a while, because I've heard those games could be quite beefy. Quite beefy.
Oh yeah. So I'm really curious to see how the, I guess, sections, how we've heard that they're going to be broken into 3 parts, will work, because
Nice.
they're not promoting it that way. Have you noticed? It's just like
I will
Fantasy
admit
VII
I've
Remake.
never played Final Fantasy, so I don't know that I would have put two and two together if that was different from the original formula or not, you know?
Right.
So I probably read about it, but it never like dawned on me that it was a thing.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how they're going to do that, because they could be pulling like a Marvel thing where it's just like, well, it's going to be a sequel, but not quite. And it's like, well, is it or not? Because this isn't the full game of the original game. This is half the game or a third of the game. At least that's what we've heard.
Parse it out in DLC or something later on. I don't know.
Which is kind of garbage, but whatever.
If
I don't
it's
know.
free, maybe it won't. Maybe they won't charge you. I don't know.
I
All this
don't
is
know. We'll-
speculation, man.
Right. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I would recommend it if people wanted to check it out. Just
Excellent.
Gonna say that. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Nice, good week of gaming, man. I promise. Next week I'm gonna start playing more stuff
All right.
because it's time. I need to move on.
Right.
But in that case, why don't we just dive into some news for this week? It didn't seem like there was like a lot of huge headlines, but there was a lot of little stuff that happened. So there's actually a good amount of stuff to talk about here. And I wish I could stop talking about Google Stadia, but I think it's reached its limit at this moment, because it does appear that they just can't catch a freaking break. As we've reported on the show in the past, Google has been having trouble securing developers and publishers who want to be a part of their cloud-based streaming service here, because of the uncertainty whether people will actually keep their games after purchasing them, since there's no download, no physical good of any kind, or like a digital code. You're still paying full price for it. And it seems that there's kind of a lack of trust that's going on with Google, because they have been kind of known in the past to ditch projects that they felt were underperforming or not, just doing what they wanted it to do when it first set out, whatever numbers they were expecting. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel bad for those that are still probably like hanging on to those kits and hoping something's coming their way, and those who probably invested real money in the hardware. Yeah. I know that they, like we had reported before, are giving it away for free for Verizon Fios people who sign up for that. Right. But I don't know. I wish I had something happier to report to those who we're really looking forward to this service, because it just seems like it didn't even really get itself off the ground even a little bit. Even as I was looking back, it doesn't seem like the roadmap has changed too much on all of it. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to it, man. I think if it's still around by the end of the year, the way it's looking, like, they'll be lucky.
Yeah. I even heard on Jim Sterling was reporting about Google Stadia this week, and he mentioned one of the problems, at least from an indie developer side, is that Google has actually come to these developers trying to get them to come on board, but they're giving them no incentives. It's just like, hey, we want your game, and it's like, okay, but what do I get? And they're just like, your game's on our system or on our platform. I was like, okay. And
I would assume outside of like a portion of the sales, obviously, since it's their game. So interesting.
Yeah, he said that, the AAA people, I mean, obviously they can just be like, well, it's no big deal. Here, have our game, do whatever. But indie developers, if they're not getting any incentive for it, why would you bother?
Right. I mean, it's like,
because that's a lot
more
more work.
Still tend to forget, like, a lot of indie teams, man, it's all like self-funded or maybe crowd-funded. So these are usually more passion projects that are made with love and are very happy when it gets released and stuff. So it's got to be a harder decision to make on something like that. Like, you definitely want your game in front of as many eyes as possible and as many players that you could reach. But at this point in time, I wouldn't really see a benefit for any team to go on there. But I'd have to see how the whole thing actually works out. Like, what the perks are outside of obviously making money off of your game. I have no idea what the cut is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, as I'm searching through it, how like Epic and Steam has come out and said 30% or 10% or 5% or what, so it's like, I don't know. All I can say is I'm really sorry to those who are early adopters. I hope something changes because I know there are those sections of people who either need it or were just extremely excited for the tech, especially if you're one of those who gave the money and didn't get it for free because you got internet.
Right.
So I'll keep my eye on that space and see. Hopefully here in the future we'll be like, hey, Google Stadia, man, look how they turned it around. Because I really do want technology like this to advance. But I think it's just going to suffer the same thing we've been saying. Like, it's just cloud-based ones right now. Amazing idea. Just, it's going to be a tough sell and hard to implement.
Yeah.
Nationwide, for sure, in the States, worldwide, probably as well, depending on your internet infrastructure where you live.
I feel like they really should have worked it out as a rental service, not a buy thing.
Although
Because
we're looking
the
at
way
like
they-
Nvidia's turn at it and all these other ones, it doesn't seem like anyone's really figuring it out just yet. You know,
No.
even if we're tackling it from different angles.
I
applaud them for
feel like
trying.
that would have been I feel like the rental or subscription service model would have been better suited for
Much
something like
better.
this.
Like a Game
At least
Pass,
that way,
yeah.
yeah. At least that way, there would not be the concern of I wouldn't own my games. You just know
Yeah, I
that
just
you're
gave you
subscribing
$60.
for the idea of being able to play the game, and then there you go.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, people subscribe to Game Pass all the time. They pay their
Yeah.
monthly fee. They play the games. If they cancel the subscription, they know they don't have access to those games anymore. And for some people, that's okay. Not every game is something they want to own and have to play over and over and over and over again.
Sure.
I have a lot of games that are like that where I've beaten them once and they've served their purpose for me, and I'm thousands of other games to go play. But regardless, Google Stadia, hopefully something turns around here soon, wherever the disconnect lies here on getting this going. And the next bit of news I have looks like that Uncharted movie is gaining some traction. So we
Okay.
saw this week that they revealed some more castings for that movie. The one, obviously, that's starring Tom Holland as the young Nathan Drake. So they have now since added to the cast. We already knew about Mark Wahlberg because we have discussed at length on how both of us feel on that one. They've also added Sophia Ali, Tati Gabrielle, and Antonio Banderas, which I think is the one
Ooh.
probably name that most people know out of those. I did look them up. You've probably seen the other two women. Just it didn't click with me right away with their names. But there's been no leaks yet as to who they are playing in the movie that I could find right now. Ruben Fletcher has been announced now to direct the film. Just wondering how they're gonna put all this together, because I'm trying to like rack my brain on who like I feel
Well,
like these people would
obviously-
play when I was just looking at their pictures.
Yeah. Obviously, Elena should not be in the game or in the movie. If we're talking
yeah,
about
you're
a
too
young
early.
Nathan Drake. So she
Or
doesn't
too
need to be
early.
in the movie. Yeah. But the other one could be, I can't remember her name, his friend from part 2. She had her own spin-off game.
Yeah, the brunette. Yes. Good God.
can't-
If anybody's been around me any length of time, you know I can never remember anyone's name. So it's no slight
Her.
to anybody. It's just my own working against me.
Because she was supposed to be an old friend, an old acquaintance. Same with the guy in part 2 who betrayed you or what have you. So,
Maybe
I
that's
don't
what
know.
Antonio will be.
but
I don't know.
hey, why not some just new characters? Since
I
you
was
know,
going to
you're not
say,
even
or it
gonna-
could be a brand new thing altogether, which is what I would support, honestly.
Yeah, just we don't need other characters. You've gotten
Well, we already know how I
two-
felt about specific movies being turned, or games turned into movies anyway. Like, this was such a story-rich thing that I've seen it. But this is a prequel, which is the only reason why I'm like, you know what? I'm still kind of in it, because you're telling me you're going to tell me a story that I haven't seen yet. Now, I understand there's people that don't game and would probably still absolutely love this movie just as its own form of entertainment. So I'm excited it's not just rehashing the games. So I will patiently wait and see. So obviously we're still very early phases of getting this movie off the ground. So I would anticipate we're still a year or longer out before we hear of a release date, trailers, anything like that. So, but it's gaining
All I
traction. So
ask-
it looks like it's going to be a
Yeah.
thing now, finally.
all I ask of this movie is to just tell a good story. Don't worry about trying to fit in video game references or whatever. Just tell a story. A good story. Let other stuff be secondary.
I agree. I agree.
Feel like that's where they fall.
You've got the base for a really great thing here. I mean, but China. Oh, China.
What have they done?
Man, I'm telling you, it's just a whole other thing when I get to read news about this stuff. So China is now taking even more measures to try and curb their population from gaming so much. And in this case, it seems to be Fortnite in particular. So apparently the amount of time Chinese players spend in front of PCs to play games and for gambling or what have you, video entertainment, has been ticking off the government. And since Epic Games, Fortnite is the most popular one worldwide, China's now take actions and has put new restrictions in place. Yeah, so if you are a younger player, gamer, you already had restrictions apparently. So children and teenagers already were not able to continue playing past 10 p.m. on weekdays, only 3 hours total on the weekends. And they track this by an identification of the ID and your phone number when you're logging in online. There are going to be penalties to come out here soon with even more restrictions. So players who play for more than 3 hours at a time, they're going to cut your XP in half. And if you are on longer, you get a message that'll pop up and tell you you were online for a total of 3 hours. Game winnings are now reduced by 50%, and challenge progress has been disabled. Log out for health reasons and rest. Adequate physical activity is good for your body. So apparently you have to let at least 5 hours of time happen between you log in next to restore everything in the game back the way that it was. And of course, players are pissed. I mean, it's interesting though, because you got like Tencent, who's one, if not the largest for games, you know. It also has like League of Legends stakes. You know what I mean? Like you kind of thrive on the fact that they're addicted to these esports, get really good and like make a ton of money off of it. So they're going to have to comply. I can't see how you tell Winnie there that we're not going to allow you to, you know, like.
We just got banned in China.
You just got banned in China. Like Chinese company. I mean, it's just crazy to me. So, I mean, I wonder what this will do to sales and stuff like that. So that's something I think it's supposed to go into effect probably by the time this airs, actually. And dang, man. Like, I didn't actually know all of that was in place because I often wondered, I'm like, how in the world would you even enforce something like that? But apparently you are being tracked every time you log in to play video games in China is what it's looking like.
Younger players, I want you to take note of what she just said. Okay? There is absolutely no freedom in China. You are free to play if you're an American, and hopefully in other countries as well. You're free to play your games as much as you want. Because that's the world we're supposed to live in. And there's a dictatorship out there controlling what you do. If you don't want that, go vote. I'm not saying anything about what's going on.
No, I agree with you there. That's definitely something to remind younger people at this time anyway. We're not going to obviously go on a political rant or anything like that, but just...
If you don't want something to happen...
in your convictions.
Yeah. If you don't want something to happen that doesn't sound right to you, go vote and make a difference. Just saying. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, no, but that's... I mean... Obviously, it's not healthy to sit there for that long, but I do not agree with anybody telling you how to live your life like that, you know?
Yeah.
But moving on, hopefully, God, I hope all that gets situated for them over there, but unfortunately, it's not looking good. So moving on to a happier topic, Last of Us series with HBO, eh? That's been floating around. Craig Mazin is just a busy bee this year. Not only is he involved in the Borderlands movie adaptation, but now the Last of Us series with HBO. Neil Druckmann is reported to be on board this time.
Okay.
So he was the one that a couple of years ago they were going to do a movie and he was none too happy and wanted nothing to do with it. So I would be interested to find out what was pitched now in a series that made him change his mind, because he's being reported as, this is amazing, it's great, everything's working out really well.
I would suggest that he is on board because they are not going to tell the story we already know.
And that's good.
That they are going to tell something else.
I hope so. I really do. Yeah, so like I said, Neil Druckmann is reported to be involved, and they will work together to write and produce what needs to be done to make this series a reality. President of Naughty Dog, Evan Wells, along with Carolyn Strauss, are to executive produce. It will be in co-production with Sony Pictures and will mark the first TV series that Sony has embarked on since they've done their movie section, if you will. The series at this time says it will, though, cover the original story. But possibly more content, of course. We'll see when the sequel releases this May, if that's something that they plan on tying in maybe eventually. But we got Chernobyl writer and Emmy Award winner Craig Mazin on this project too. So it sounds like he's just going to be so freaking busy this year. So I don't know. I don't know how I personally feel about it yet. When I found out it was covering the original story, basically. So I kind of hope I'm going to watch it, but I'm just wondering how they're going to try to make this stand out from any other zombie post-apocalyptic world. Like, as a game, it was great. I'm just wondering on a TV series how they're going to try to make that stand out. Maybe they don't need to, because again, I'm also putting myself in the shoes of, there are lots of gamers out there, or people who don't game and would still love this story. So I know there's an audience for it, but as somebody who's experienced the story in what I feel is the best possible way, since I am a gamer and it was such an amazing game and written so well. So, I mean, I'm excited that Druckmann's on it, because we already know he does good stuff, you know? But I'm just curious how they're going to make it different than every other zombie show or whatever that we have already.
I think to do it properly, they have to do what Druckmann and his team did, and they have to focus on your two characters, because it's their story with the background of an apocalypse.
Right.
You know, all that other stuff is
like, that just happened
secondary.
to be the setting. Exactly.
Yeah. This is about a man who lost his kid. Spoilers, but that's at the beginning of the movies or the game. So if you haven't played it,
and it's been a long time, we're sorry.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So a man who lost his daughter, he's trying to just get by, and then he has this young girl thrust upon him who could be essentially around the age or a little bit older than his daughter. And it's almost like trying to find purpose again, to have this relationship with this girl. And is he willing to give his heart over to this girl, you know, and care for her in a way to protect her the way he should or needs to? And that's the heart of the story, and that's what they need to focus on. Don't worry about clickers and all that other stuff. That's secondary at best.
It really is. And I mean, one could argue that Walking Dead kind of operates that way, where it's a story about the people who just happen to be in a zombie apocalypse. So that's why I really hope there's some sort of, I don't know, hook or something that makes it stand out a little differently, albeit I hope it's unknowns also, but I have a feeling with the way things are going right now that they're probably going to cast some like bigger actor, because I feel like that's the trend right now. I guess whatever you need to do to bring eyes to it, but I will patiently wait and see and reserve my judgments until then. I just, again, like, I've seen that story. I love that story. I feel like I experienced it in the best possible way. So hopefully there's some new angle we can attack it from to keep maybe people who even played the game really invested in it too. I don't know.
Yeah,
I trust him. I trust him as a writer, so I'm sure it'll be a good series regardless, you know. But guess what segment I'm bringing back this week on Twitch?
Oh,
we haven't had one of those in a while. It's a pretty big doozy too. So as the headline reads for this particular one. COD streamer banned on Twitch after accidentally firing gun while drunk.
What?
Yeah, so, I mean, so he is suspended. I did watch the clip. I'm not familiar with this gentleman, again, probably because I don't really have my finger on the pulse of major esports players. But this is a Twitch streamer, COD Trick Shotter, that I think just goes by his real name. All I saw was Carl Reimer. I didn't see like a handle or anything like that. But has been banned and also removed, unfortunately, from his esports team SOAR, capital S and R. So whatever that says for. So yeah, but he accidentally fired his gun while live. So as shown in the clip of the stream, which was his last, little did he know, he was having a conversation with chat. He reached for a loaded gun that for some reason was on the table next to him. And as he was talking, he picks up the gun, takes off the gun cover, looks to the camera and says, "B, bitch, say I ain't got money," in a joking tone. He then empties the clip that you can see him do it. And for some reason, after he did that, accidentally fired it because the clip was still in. And, I mean, he looked so shook and he just looks at the camera. I emptied the clip. I emptied the mag. Like he was trying to, you could tell at this point, he's just freaking out. So the esports organization he was a part of came out in a public statement on Twitter. We do not condone the actions on live stream by Carl last night, and he has been removed from the SOAR gaming roster effective immediately. Thankfully, no one was hurt. I mean, he had like 4 dogs in the background too, like no animals. Apparently, I think he said his fiance was in the house. She's fine. Nobody was hurt. But he was live streaming on YouTube the next day. So just since I had just read this story, I did peek in and watch for a little bit. And if this is true, and to me, this does seem very sincere, like the lesson was learned and hard. He's come out with videos like, "Don't be like me. I just wrecked my effing life. I was making a living on Twitch. I was making a living doing all this stuff. And in one thing that I thought was going to be this funny joke on stream, wrecked everything for me." And even the live stream was him talking about how it was stupid. He showed us a cup that it actually hit. It was like a tin to go coffee cup that it went through the one side and bounced out the back. So again, the fact that everyone and nobody was hurt, no living being was hurt, is amazing. Oh my God, could you imagine on stream if even, oh my God, like my heart just stopped when I saw that it happened. So Carl, good on you for at least trying to make this a teachable moment for other people. He said, he's like, "My God, I don't even know why I had the gun there at all this time." He's like, "It's usually," he said, "back in his bedroom or stuff," because he keeps it for self-protection if somebody tries to, you know, invade their house, which is his right to do. And says he's like, "That's never coming in here again." Like, and I really, truly hope he's sincere. And it looked very sincere. That's a tough way to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
But guys, this is nothing to joke around with. Like, there's some laws that like could have gone to jail just for firing a gun. You know what I mean? Like just in an open space like that. So, but I hope it's not going to ruin his life. Again, me assuming that he is taking this as a teachable moment and will move on with his life because he is a young kid who was so freaking dumb and got so lucky that that's all that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to buy a new monitor, but so what? You know what I mean? Don't play with guns, man. I mean,
No.
he's trained. He's even said, like, "I am trained for this thing, and I got drunk, and I thought this was going to be a funny joke, and it's not." He's like, "I have no idea why my hand was on the trigger. I have no idea why all that happened. Like, don't do it. If you're the type that likes to do that kind of stuff when you're drunk, put that shit away, man. Don't allow yourself to get to it." You know what I mean? I'm not saying don't own a gun, but
Don't
Please
play
let that
with
be
it.
a
It's
teachable
not a
moment for you.
toy.
It is not a toy. So, Carl, best wishes. Please continue on this path of using it as a teachable moment and keep that in your heart the next time if you ever think that's going to be funny, or anybody out there. That's my last bit of news, though, and I'm just going to run through a few quickets that we've got going on for this week, so try to put it back up on a high note. I feel like I've taken us on a roller coaster today.
You have. I'm so emotionally invested right now.
Clutching
many
your
things.
pearls. You don't know what to do. But first quicket, we got a release date for Ghost of Tsushima, which will be coming to PS4 on June 26th. You can watch the trailer now. People are excited. Collector's Edition bundle looks pretty good. Little figurines and, of course, a fancy box set and all this kind of stuff that you can pre-order if you'd like to do. So, yay. I know people were excited for that game. Mm-hmm. If you like brutal games.
Sure.
Another one, a new little Easter egg for God of War was just recently discovered after all these years. 2 years? Maybe it hasn't been that long. Long enough. But apparently a reputable modder, Lance McDonald, discovered this by hacking the PS4's game's camera, allowing the user to start and stop time freely, even during cutscenes. So upon doing this, and the early fight with Kratos with Baldur, he has a screen grab of Baldur as he's flying off the cliff. He's flipping you off with both hands as he's falling off. The assumption is that this probably wasn't meant to be discovered, but gamers be hacking, yo. So now we have it out there for everyone to see. It's pretty funny. It's just like falling down, arms and feet are stretched out in front of him, and both hands are just up, flipping you off with both fingers. Or on both hands.
Was done on purpose for the
sure.
sole fact that they were like, you know what? People are going to hack this game. Let's give them something to find. And it's like, hey, up yours, buddy.
Uh-huh.
On purpose.
Oh, but it was great. It's just so funny that how gamers can find this stuff so many years later even, I tell you. I wish I had those skills. I'd love to be one of the ones that, like, discovered something one day. But in the same vein of God of War, recent job listings suggest the God of War sequel might actually, in fact, already be in the works. And the rumor is it's to release for PlayStation 5. So we're not sure there's even going to be a 4 version. So that might tell you how far out they probably are looking at having a release date for the next one, which is fine with me. Make it good.
Yeah, I think they need to have a big title like that on PS5, and God of War would be the thing to do it.
Oh, my God, right? I think it would look great. Okay. See, those who were waiting for a Valve Index. If you are listening to this early enough in the day, on Monday, you might be able to grab one. I got an email this week that the kits will be available for purchase starting Monday. Or I should say, should be. They did say should be. So
Should be.
I made sure to emphasize that when I saw that in the email. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but should be available for purchase starting Monday, March 9th. At 12 p.m. Central Time, 1 Eastern. So good luck on grabbing a kit if you were one of the ones waiting. So hopefully you heard about this in enough time, because I am sure they're going to sell out. Mm-hmm. Because Alex is very close. And people have probably had their finger at the purchase button for a while. So if you were met with a, I'm sorry, we're out again. I'm sorry. And I guess, I don't know when they'll make more, but they're trying to keep up. One cool little thing that I saw this week, too, Beat Saber might actually have a new tool on the market for players. Beat Saber has teamed up with Subpack, which is a tactile audio system. I don't know if you've seen those like tactile vests that people can wear in VR or wherever they're using those for. So they are developing and actually have a working model on a vest that can help players with hearing impairments to play because they can feel the music. Jaroslav Beck, which is one of the co-developers of Beat Saber, who is also a composer, had started writing music while wearing the Subpack, which the focus is the physical sensation of music through like haptic feedbacks and low frequency sound, bone conduction, things of that nature, to allow better low frequency sounds, I guess, for those who may be hard of hearing. While combining these two for himself, he thought, why not pair it with Beat Saber and open up the game to a whole other demographic of people? So reached out to the president and co-founder of Subpack and agreed 100%. And since using it, Beck said it actually hasn't even been changing the way he writes music, because now that he's feeling it more, like it's really inspired a new compositions, I guess, and I can't wait to see what they are. And I don't even think that's a word that I just said. So we'll find out later on when I get told on Twitter. Oh, or now.
Yeah,
I was myself out first before people call me.
What the hell
an
is a
idiot.
composition?
I don't know. I was feeling it, man. I was feeling the music.
I get it.
So regardless, though, it's not on the market yet. They have tested it with somebody who is hearing impaired, came out of it saying this was freaking amazing, that it was really, really cool experience for them. So I can't wait to see if this thing gets off the ground for some people, because it looks really, really cool.
I'm so glad people are doing that. They're creating these devices and things for people who cannot play games the way the rest of us can. It's amazing. I love it. Gaming should be all inclusive.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I really do. So welcome to the world of that. It sounds like it'll actually get off the ground, because they've already got like a workable thing, but I hope that continues to go. Black Mesa might finally be out of beta. If anybody knows, Black Mesa is the fan-made Half-Life game, which has been in beta since probably Half-Life 2 was over. I don't know. I'm probably just exaggerating, but it's been a long time.
Probably not.
So right now on Steam, it says March 6th. So you should be able to play it already. Well, you've been able to play it, but now it's supposedly done. So what is that, Friday last week? I don't even know what today is. Whatever. So March 6th.
Whatever.
Go buy it if you want to toss your money at some Half-Life. I'm sure they rushed when they heard Alex was coming. They're like, it would be a good time to actually release this on a banner, right? And you're probably not wrong. So, and lastly, game collectors had a huge week, or the owners, more specifically, of these games.
Yeah.
So last week, Steven sent me this article, and holy crap. I don't know if anybody's in the know that there was a prototype console for the Nintendo PlayStation, which I think we have talked about this before.
We have.
Maybe not as a focus of a story, but we knew back in the day the PlayStation and Nintendo were teaming up, falling out happened, prototypes happened, but the console never actually released, saw the light of day.
Right.
But somebody who had that prototype sold it at an auction. And this lucky owner received $360,000 for owning this prototype, which sets the record for the most expensive video game memorabilia ever sold at an auction. Whew. Wouldn't you love to have FU money like that?
Sure. I definitely would.
That's a good payday, man. That's a good payday. That's probably, I could retire on that. I live so frugally. But I did have a couple of honorable mentions because also sold at this auction. We have a factory sealed copy of the NES game Stadium Events that went for $66,000. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out that went for $45,600. And a later printing of Super Mario Brothers at $20,400. If only we didn't just play with our games back in the day.
Right?
Who would have thought that later
You know how many
on-
times I sit there and think of a comic book that I had, and I'm just like, son of a bitch.
And
Why
of
didn't
course
I know?
we opened it and read it like a child would.
Yeah, because, you know, that's what they're for, is to read. Things like that. But anyway.
All right. But I do got one bit of truth or trash for you to try out today. And of course, as always, I forget to bring up my truth or trash tally before we start the recording. But here we go. So, everyone's getting in on this video game to movie. I mean, we're seeing it all over the place. But one group for you to decide is working really hard right now on their own version. Nintendo wants in on the action. Shigeru Miyamoto, who works at Nintendo, has been working on several projects bringing more family entertainment associated with the name. So it's not only just associated with kids. So now, one of his announcements, Steven, if you believe it, is that they are currently working on another Super Mario movie.
That is an absolute fact.
Ooh, he knows this for sure.
This is an absolute fact.
Because I'll admit, even I'm not sure.
No, this is an absolute fact. And I'm glad to see that he's opened up about doing more, because I know there was drama behind that original live action one. I know it's got haters. I know it's got fans. I'm somewhere in the middle. I love / hate it because I can respect some things about it, and I can see where they were going and they could have gone. And then I see what they did, and they took that hard right turn. That was a movie that was a mess that had too many cooks in the kitchen. That's the problem there. So, anyway, yeah, this is an absolute fact. Nice. It's happening.
We'll see it. We'll light ourselves up. Got our popcorn money. All right. Steven, are you ready to play?
I'd buy that for $1.
What am I going to buy for
got
$1 today?
3 items to sell you today, my friend.
Okay.
Of which I think you're going to like. Borderlands, the movie, is kicking up some interest. So, of course, merch line is no different. It's kicking up per usual. We got a few Borderlands-themed objects for your perusal today to try to tempt you of some of your money.
Okay.
So I have a first offering is a figurine of the character Lilith, which the website ensures me is a unisex item. They felt the need to put it, so I thought I should let you know in case that was something you were wondering. But the outer material, it's a I know, right? But I love that it was on there, so I'm like, yeah, we're gonna put that on there.
Sure.
But the outer material is made of PVC. It stands at 7 inches tall. Comes with additional accessories like her little gun that you can take on and off. Even comes with a stand that you can place her in, so you can put her on a shelf for all to see. Packed with care in a window box. Steven, what would you pay for Lilith the figurine?
Well, she's not very big, but she does have a lot of accessories, so I'm assuming she's very detailed. And
if
she's
this
got
helps
a box.
you, I'll give you one hint because they're going to be bizarre. I converted from pounds.
Oh, okay.
I shouldn't probably give you that hint, but
well,
it might make it more fun to see what change you throw at my face.
Right.
So.
Okay, so.
But I did put the U.S. dollars in, so I'm only asking you for your U.S. money.
Okay. Something that fancy, it's going to be well over $100. I would imagine it's going to be well over $100. So I'm going to roll the dice because, again, 7 inches isn't very big, but you're trying to make it all fancy. I'm going to say $129 or $129.99.
There you go. Or I should put like 62. $29.99. All right. But maybe Lilith isn't your thing. Or you just want to collect them all. I also have a Maya figurine. You're like, yeah, no, I'm not a collector. But you might be.
Okay.
But I also have a Maya figurine to tempt you with. Now, this figurine is painted to detail and also very unisex. This is officially licensed, made of vinyl. It doesn't say the height on this particular one, though, but looking at it, it kind of looked like it was the same height as Lilith, so I would assume like 7 inches or so tall. This one comes in a gift box, though. It didn't give you a window box. So with that being said, what would you pay for Maya?
I mean, she's made out of different material. You said the other one was made of PVC, and now she's made of vinyl. And I don't know the going rate for vinyl.
I don't either.
Outside of, a $30 record. Let me see. I guess I'll go down since we're not putting. Again, I'm sure the cost of vinyl could be less, could be more.
Dude, I know the agony because I have no idea either.
$79.99. I'll make her cheap since she doesn't have a box.
There you go. It's just a gift box. Why can't we have a window box for her?
I want a window box.
I know. Well, I guess that's if you're like, I'm assuming you wouldn't want to open it, so the window box would be to display in said box. I don't know. So you can get that $400,000 payday in 30 years or something. But now that you have your figurines, you might need something to take them home in. Well, I have just the thing for that too. So I'm introducing to you the Clap Trap Shoulder Bag. It has a 1.5-star review under its belt. I mean, it's the only review, but you know. How could you be steered wrong? The shoulder straps are adjustable and padded for your comfort. There is a side pocket provided, a pen pocket, a pocket with a zip fold underneath, because it's one of those that just like looks like a Hatchel bag where you can lift that flap up. You also have a zipper in the front of that same flap. There's a main compartment that has a separator in it. 2 closable interior pockets. We're talking pockets, people.
Pockets
you will
for
never
days.
find your stuff again. You will never find it in this again. If you want it safe, buy Claptrap. So each exterior zip closure also has the Hyperion Core logo for your viewing pleasure. What would you pay for the Claptrap shoulder bag?
I mean, it's a purse.
Yes.
So you can call it a shoulder bag all day. It's a purse.
I gotta make it manly.
There's a lot of pockets.
It is yellow. I mean, is that a
And it's
manly
yellow.
color? I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be. That's considered sexist, right? Assigning colors to.
I really don't care. I'm not offended by it, so no one should be.
And unisex.
And it's unisex. Now this makes sense. Okay, this makes sense to be unisex. Men, you know what? I'm gonna admit this right now. You've heard people say, "Well, I'm not a girl. I don't carry a purse." I may not have a purse per se, but I have a purse. Okay, I have a bag that I take to work every day that has my headache medicine,
But a briefcase
vitamins,
is manly.
Headphone. It has all my stuff in it. Bills.
Does it have your
I have a
hairbrush and
purse.
chopstick?
Okay, I admit I have a purse. That's just a shoulder bag, but it's a purse. It's a purse.
Just practical.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean,
I'm
you
not
guys,
gonna- I'm not
I see you
ashamed by it.
struggling to shove everything in your pocket, and then you got to like sit down and drive. Like, you're going to have
Right.
back problems, sitting on half your butt for your whole life.
I feel like it's the smartest thing that ever happened is to have a purse of my own, because I can just everything I need goes in the purse. Yeah, I'm saying it. At me, fight me. I don't give a
have
damn.
it. Do
Anyway,
it. Do
so
it.
this thing, this canary yellow purse from Borderlands.
Claptrap yellow.
Okay, claptrap.
I don't know if that's a thing.
$49.99.
$49.99. All right. So, Steven, I will gladly accept your offers.
Okay.
You're going to be a little surprised at some of these. So,
All right.
on the Lilith action figurine, which you said you would pay me $129.99 for the sake of the game.
Sure.
But you could get a lot of them for that price. You're only going to
Really?
pay $36.21 for Lilith.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I really overshot it. I thought she was going to be fancy.
I probably would have said what you said, though, because officially licensed and like all that kind of stuff and not being a collector. We've heard me play this game in the past. I like to overshoot. But now for Maya, you said you would pay $79.99 for Maya. But you would only have to pay $54.32. So she is much more expensive.
So I should have thought about that. Vinyl is more expensive than PVC. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why I undershot her. It was the glass case. It was the glass
I think it was
case.
the accessories and the box and the stand, like all the extras that came with the cheaper one, oddly enough. And then lastly, you can carry all that home in your claptrap bag for only $42.68. So you really weren't too far off on that one.
Yeah.
But the
I know a
conversions
purse.
always came to weird change. So, yeah. I'll gladly take your money. Here, you can. I'll throw in 2 of Lilith since you were so generous.
Oh, wow. I don't want these.
Go sell them on auction later
eBay.
on or something.
Yeah, I'll say they're one of a kind and then sell 3 of them.
Make sure it's unisex, guys. We don't have a lot of those figurines out there. All right. Let's play Name That Game. All right.
Man, you have no idea how perfect it was. I think it was last week or the week before. I don't remember. I think it was last week. It was so, I had to do nothing. I
Our dance was just so on it, man.
It was on it.
We're feeling the music. We're in it. I got 3 for you today.
Woo!
But this first one came with a disclaimer.
Okay.
This game is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and events are the products of the author's imagination. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental.
Now I'm curious.
With that being said, our dear Tsar Vladimir adores morning runs. One day, having started his regular running, he finds himself in the center of the Navalny's protest, who is supported by the U.S. State Department. Evil and spoiled Zoomers, children of corrupt officials using some sort of stewed fruit, are trying to destabilize the situation in our society. The protest is the main weapon, so let's help our dear Vladimir run this way through 2% of crap that bothers him. Running forward, you need to dodge the young morons. Losing his clothes, Tsar Vladimir gains the support of the adult population. Stripping himself, the hero demonstrates that he is the most honest and worthy ruler who has nothing to conceal. Having received the support of the oldest generation, parents, grandparents, teachers, and professors, the Zoomers will lose their strength and Vladimir will gain power. Good luck. Minor nudity, which contains Tsar Vlad without shirt and some other clothes, very minor, no fully naked people, are to be designed. Steven, is this game A, Zoomer Runner, B, Vladimir Vanity, C, Putin Run Out, or D, Sexy Tsar Vladimir, but everything starts with a T? Everything starts with a T was just for your info. It doesn't actually say
Thank
that.
you.
Like, Sexy Tsars Vladimir, which is
Why?
completely made up in this author's mind, not based on anybody alive.
No, that was. Why are there so many games about Vladimir Putin? Why are people making games?
I don't know.
It's like
Maybe
every
it makes
week
him
there's a
mad,
new one.
and it's like their way of digging at him. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, they sold this one pretty well to me. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna go with the one that sounds punny and stupid. Putin Run Out. C.
His answer is C, Putin Run Out. And you would be correct, sir.
Woo!
Putin Put Out. Based on nobody alive ever in history.
Yeah, nobody.
Nobody. I don't
Schmucks.
know anybody who could resemble that at all. Your next game. If I can read this, I have chosen one that might be a little hard. Player character is woman called Ivanka Horny. She's only mission is to fight against hungry zombie men's and kill them in different arenas levels. So find and kill all men enemies and finish levels. Play as woman and fight against hungry zombies, hungry men's in different minor levels. In this meme fighter game, player mission is to find zombies and other enemies in different levels. Game contains level ups. Player Ivanka Horny can get more XP and different super combo attacks during game when killing men enemies. Totally player can achieve 4 super combos. Is this game? Had to really pay attention. A, horny fighter. B, Ivanka versus zombies. C, horny memes. D, woman and fight.
They're all terrible.
You're not wrong.
So just a.
I would
a
take
thought.
offense, but you're not wrong.
Just a thought. I would really like to think that this guy got the name Ivanka from somebody that's not who we know it is, And
it has a smexy blonde, but I'm not going to put the idea in anybody's head.
I would also like to think that he came up with the name Horney or Horny because he remembered that character from Laugh-In that Artie Johnson used to do, Tyrone Horney or Horny. There was a joke, a wink, a nudge. You know, the little old man. Did you ever watch Laugh-In?
No.
Okay, he
I
did this.
mean, I
little
know
old
the
man.
show and everything, but I never watched enough for like any of it to jog my memory.
Yeah, he played this little old man, Tyrone J. Horney, and he just and then he'd come and harass Ruth Buzzy, and I can't remember her character's name right offhand, but yeah, I would love to think that they came up with that as a homage to that, but I know that's not true because, come on.
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm sure everyone out there is like, what is Laugh-In? I'm the old
Right?
guy. Sorry.
I at least knew that.
It's a great show. Ivanka versus Zombies, B.
Ivanka versus zombies, so B. And the answer is A. Horny fighter.
God.
I thought you were going to talk yourself into it. I really was. I was like, listen to him, man. I don't know if you were onto something because, again, I don't know the reference really, but maybe.
Horny fighter. Why would you even call her Ivanka if you're going to call it horny fighter? I don't understand people.
Maybe they're hoping, when they're looking through Steam, Ivanka won't be like, oh, look, that's me. I don't know. I don't know what excuses. But I have one more game for you today.
All right.
Want to let off some steam?
Sure.
This game is for you. Knives, submachine guns, flamethrowers, a tank. Which method will you choose? This is a relaxing game where the goal is to gain maximum gold coins by hurting your doll. With these coins, you can buy weapons doing more damage and therefore more gold. But you can also buy equipment for your doll so that it has flow. This doll will make fun of you. Show them what you're worth. Is this game A, Voodoo Doll Gold Rush, B, Kick the Puppet, C, Maim the Marionette, or D, I can't even say this last one, Sock Puppet Sucker Punch? God damn, that was too hard.
I'm surprised that you didn't have I Am a Sadist as a title because what the shit is this game?
I don't know. This one got me by the icon, so GG on that one. I was like, what is that a picture of? Yeah.
I'm just going to roll the dice and say Kick the Puppet, whatever that was.
Your answer is B, Kick the Puppet. And you would be right.
Woo!
Kick the Puppet.
Kick
2
the
out
puppet.
of 3 today, baby.
Did all right. I'm doing my average.
Did all right. Trust me, there's more games to get added every week. I'm not at a lack.
Real,
but that's all
real
I...
quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say real quick sidebar. You mentioned Knives, and then my head said, Knives Out, that movie. Have you seen that? That's a pretty good movie.
I've not.
Just going to throw it out there.
I'm a garbage person for not doing that yet because I've heard it actually is really good.
No, I would recommend
I need to sit down
just
and
wanna throw
focus.
that
One
out.
of these days. I've been suggested so many shows that I need to catch up on and everything. And I'm telling you, there's all these games to play, guys. I want to keep making content. It's hard.
Yeah.
But that's all I have written for the show today. So our headliner is going to be Steven with a review.
What?
On a
Yes,
game.
I'm doing a review.
Yeah. So I'm kicking it over to him.
As I kind of mentioned early up top, there was another game I was playing this week, and obviously you should know by now what it is, considering, it's on the icon, or at least it should have been clear on the icon. But we were talking about
Right.
Bloodroots. Bloodroots recently came out on February 28th, I think it was. I'm sorry, I didn't write that down. I'm trying to remember by memory. It was a Friday. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
So, and we were going to talk about it last week, but we couldn't because, well, we could have, but we didn't because we wanted to focus our time on Mr. Hashimoto. Is that right?
Yes.
Sorry.
About the Konami code. Yep.
Brain. Yeah, about the Konami code. So we kind of shifted gears a little bit to do that. But now we're going to talk about Bloodroots. Bloodroots, if you don't know, is developed by Paper Cult Games. The story revolves around the character Mr. Wolf, who is seemingly killed by Mr. Black Wolf in the prologue of the game. However, Mr. Wolf survives, and now he's out for revenge, looking for Mr. Black Wolf, and he's plowing down his old gang that he used to hang out with, like Mr. Mr.
Loyalty
Boar.
there, huh?
Yeah, or Miss Bison, Miss Crow, and
Cute.
he's trying to find Mr. Black Wolf, and they're just tearing into each other. So that's a very, very thin take on the story. I'm just trying to kind of give you a generalization of what it is. There's a lot more into it. It's very dialogue. I won't say Outer Worlds dialogue heavy, but there is some text to kind of flesh out the story and the characters. Yeah. So it's not just blood, guts, carnage, and mayhem and all that. So I'm going to talk about the good. I'm going to talk about, I guess, the bad, so to speak, if there is any, which, I think every game has a few flaws here and there.
Sure.
First of all, this was a game...
As reviewers, we're supposed to try to look for that, too.
Yeah.
As best we can, I guess.
Now, if anybody remembers our PAX show from last year, this was a game that I did speak about because I got to see it at PAX East last year in the PlayStation booth, and I think they had a few other booths lined up elsewhere. That's just where I happened upon it. And then they had their little indie booth. This was just, there was something about it. It was so unique. It took me a minute to kind of get my bearings on it when I played it there, but it was just like, oh my God, this is something good. This is something that's really got my attention. And if you want to hear what I said about it back then, go listen to that episode. I'm not going to repeat it here. Because now I'm going to be talking about it for real, in the flesh, in full.
Yeah, you are.
This game, and I think this is exactly what latched me into it initially. The game is very similar to Hotline Miami. And when I use that comparison, I mean in the sense that it's one-hit death, it's constant chaos, you can kill your enemies with one hit, but they can kill you with one hit, and it's just, you've got to be strategic, you've got to be fast, you got to know exactly what you're doing. You just boom, 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 boom. So you've got to go, you got to be focused. And so it's skill and strategy. And I would even say to a point, even with Hotline Miami, kind of, there's a little bit of pacing. Like you can go in and kind of barrel down a little bit more. This game doesn't really give you time to strategize. There are times you can kind of stop and have a moment to kind of figure out what you need to do, but a lot of the characters are after you at all times. You make one wrong move, you miss a character out of the corner of your eye, maybe he's behind you and you take a hit and you have nothing else, they're going to come back and they're going to hit you from behind and you're going to be caught off guard going, God damn. So you have to be cognizant of everything around you. That's how chaotic this is. That's how intense it is. You have to know what's going on around you at all times. So there's very little time to really catch your bearings and plot. Now, the more you die, which you will do, the more familiar you are with the situation, the setup, and trying to figure out what you need to do. Now, there are numerous ways you can approach each area and how you fight, and I think that's a lot of the beauty of what this game gives you. Is the main thing that really stands or makes this game stand apart to something like Hotline Miami is, granted, it's not top down or anything like that. It's your methods of killing folk. Everything, well, I would say just about everything is a weapon. Everything around you, whatever you come across. You wanna hit somebody with a plank, grab it. There's an axe. There's a sword. Hey, you know what? I'm going to slap this guy in the face with a fish. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stab him in the eye with a carrot. I'm going to do that. Everything around you, there are so many weapon choices, and each one can be unique. So it's not as if, the carrot and the axe are going to kill the same way. They're different. So swords, they kind of give you this darting attack. So you can like swish, swish, swish. So you almost turn into a ninja. There are ladders you can spin around and then use to catapult yourself into the air.
Wow.
There are fireworks that you can just burn characters. There are lamps you can just toss like bombs, and it'll set things on fire around you if there's grass nearby, and then that could wipe out an entire platoon. It's all really strategic in a way, but they give you numerous methods to whatever you want to do. There are so many ways
to attack
do it.
the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
And I cannot think of a moment in the game. There was one moment where I was thinking that I was going to be stuck in this way, where I couldn't get up to an area, and I just dropped down there, and I was like, how am I going to get back out of here? And then I started looking around. I found my way out. They don't, from what I've seen, they do not put you in a situation that you cannot get out of. So that's one thing I was trying to be very cognizant of as well when I was looking at it. But everything is well designed. It's got great controls, but I would almost say, I don't want to say it's bad in this way. It could be, the controls are so good, they're almost too good that you can kind of overshoot. You know, say you're trying to get over to a platform, because one of the things you'll probably do more than anything is make one wrong move and fall off a cliff or fall off the side. So if you are doing something with a sword that kind of gives you that darty ninja move, you could go slightly over and then fall right into the pit after you killed somebody trying to get over a gap or something. You're like, son of a bitch. So you can overcorrect, you know what I mean? And then find yourself killing yourself. So that's one thing you
done on many games.
Yeah. And it's one of those tropes that we've seen. So I don't want to say that that's a bad thing. I guess it adds to the skill level, is trying to think about where to aim on that.
Attention.
Yeah. So, but it's very, very tight controls. They even have some solid platforming in there, which I didn't expect, because you see yourself just going plowing through, killing people, and you thought that's all it's going to be. And then they add these little platforming sections in there. Like there was this one spot, I think it was in level 2. I can't remember the actual level, but it was in Act 2. And you pick up a firecracker, and you can use it to kind of jump and float, I guess. You know, kind of use it to kind of, balance yourself. And there are so many other games that kind of do this thing too, where you have to go through a tunnel or something like that. Don't hit the spikes, and something's coming at you and it's going to kill you. And you've got to navigate through this cavern and try to get through there. There's a whole section like that where you're just trying to make sure you don't hit the saw blades, don't hit the ceiling, don't hit the floor and whatnot. And I was just like, oh my God. But the controls, again, this is where the controls being very precise. Every little touch, if you hit too hard, you're going to go up too high. If you tap that button ever so slightly, you're just going to flutter. So the controls, again, being as tight as they are, it's perfect here. You just have to be aware of what you need to do. Don't overcorrect. Try to stay within the range of what you need to do. So I have to give it a lot of credit for these ideas. And even in saying that I say it's a lot like Hotline Miami, another element that they do that's very similar to that is you have a scoring system. However well you do, time, speed, kills, whatnot, you get an A to F grade, S grade.
Sure.
That's another one. I've not gotten a lot of those.
I know the feeling.
But they do, there are ways to earn different pelts. So, like, you wear a white wolf pelt, and you can earn, like, I think I've gotten a bear, a fish, maybe. And there's so many others that you can do. And then, of course, they give you different abilities, which then you can go and replay other levels with those and try to improve your score. So that's very much like Hotline Miami. Yeah. But again, in saying that, don't misinterpret that as me saying, oh, it's a Hotline Miami clone. It's not. Okay, it's very much its own game. That's just the only game I can think of that's similar in
sure
the way it operates or the way it plays. Beyond that, the game is its own thing. It really does stand out. It's got its own great art aesthetic to it. Very kind of Samurai Jack was a very good example. Someone kind of threw out there about the art style. If you've seen that old Cartoon Network show Samurai Jack, I guess that would be a good way to kind of describe it in a way, but I wouldn't say that specifically. There's just a similarity there.
Okay.
But it's a very beautiful thing. Hotline Miami had the techno beats, the great music there. This does not have the... Oh, yeah. It doesn't have the same techno beats, obviously, but with its Western aesthetic that it's really kind of aiming for here, the music plays on that. So you have guitar, you have harmonica, you have a lot of that Western style music, whistling, which was, I thought, kind of a nice little thing that I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
But it's good tunes that works for the situation that you're in. So you're going to be caught up in the music, you're going to be caught up in the fights, and you're going to be like, yeah, I'm in it. So as you continue to die, and as frustrating as I got, the music would just kind of keep me in it to just be like, I'm with the beat, I'm with the wheat, just keep pushing forward, Now, I would say that the game is fairly short because it technically only has 3 acts and about 5 levels per, give or take. I think maybe even the boss level might considerably be a bonus 6th level. And there are bonus levels too where it kind of challenges you. It's like, hey, go through and hit all these dummies within a certain amount of time that you can do. I haven't quite figured out what triggers those, if it's something that happens after each level or if it's just something they kind of threw in here and there. I wasn't sure about that, but it can seem fairly short. With that being said, say only technically 15 levels or more, ever so slightly, but you're going to be playing, you're going to be honing your craft to the point where you're going to get a lot of time out of it. So don't think if I say, oh, there's only like 20 levels, oh, well, that's not... Trust me, you're going to want to...
Like they're easy breezy 20 levels.
No. You're going to have some issues. And before I get off of things that I really loved about the game, I just wanted to touch on this. I looked through some of the trophy lists. There was one trophy. I don't know if you'll get the joke, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's funny. It was a trophy for 50 deaths within one room, and it was labeled Ned Ryerson. Do you get it?
No.
Groundhog Day.
Oh, yes! I was like, why? And like my
Phil?
brain just wasn't working. Yeah. Oh, that's
Phil?
funny. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
I was
clever.
like, that's clever. Now, that being said, I have praised this game a lot, but I do want to touch on a few things that did kind of, play on my nerves a little bit. The difficulty level was up there a little bit. And when I say difficulty level, I do understand that Hotline Miami, when I'm doing that comparison, was not easy. It was very difficult and challenging and whatnot. There were just things about the way they lay it out, and I don't want it to sound like I'm being pissy about the difficulty level, but they're just... Sometimes you die so many times, you're just like, why? And then you eventually get through it, and you're just like, I just needed to look at it a certain way.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to sound like I'm criticizing a game for being hard. I just understand that there is a difficulty curve on this game that you have to...
you probably will get salty at some point and just have the presence of mind to step away for a minute if you need to and reassess.
Yeah. Because all the levels are doable. You just have to know that you're going to have to really think about what you're doing and strategize the situation, because it can get frustrating. So be aware of that. It is difficult. The boss battles, I've done 2 so far. I will say that I have not completely finished the game as of yet, but there were 2 boss battles that I've done. The first boss battle was like you're running through this... I mean, it's almost like they're putting you through the gauntlet. So this guy's shooting stuff at you, throwing stuff at you. Enemies are everywhere, and you're just having to keep moving and trying to catch this guy. And he's throwing everything at you, and there's just so much chaos. I was just like, I'm not going to get through this. There was literally a point where it was like, I'm never going to get through this because, my God.
Then, dude, I don't even know if I should bother. It took me like 10 years to finish Cuphead.
Well, see, I don't know if it would be...
Dang it.
I don't know if I would consider it Cuphead difficult, but there's an unfair comparison there to different types of games. But that was frustrating. Now there was the second boss battle. It was difficult. Don't get me wrong. It was challenging, but I enjoyed it more because of the way they kind of laid it out. Because instead of doing a run and gun trying to catch this guy, they laid me out in an arena. There was a lot of in there, And so I had to beat the main enemy, but they would lay out weapons at my disposal, and I just had to get to the weapons, dodge what she's throwing at me, and then get a hit in. So it was essentially just
That does
looking
sound Hotline
around.
Miami right there, though, too. I can remember.
Yeah, in a way. But the way it laid out, I had more fun with that one. I was like, all right, what do I got to do? And I was just trying to keep moving, keep it, and it really felt like it tested my platforming abilities to the point where it was like I felt good when I got her, and I was like, yeah. So again, there might be a fun level that differentiates to some people. I personally enjoyed that. Some people might have enjoyed the first boss battle. I don't know. But outside of the difficulty level, and again, that's a nitpicky, depending on, I'm making you aware. Just be aware. It's not an easy game. Right. You will test you. So I did come across some bugs. I literally actually had, like when I first loaded the game, there's an axe in the bottom where you kind of see it's supposed to be like your loading icon or whatever. It literally froze at one point for just a bit too long, and I was like, did the game, hello? Like, I wasn't sure what was going on, so I reloaded the game just to be sure, and then kind of did it again, but then it kind of sped up a little bit. So at the beginning, it seems like the load times were a bit excessive, which kind of bugged me. I was just like, okay. So I just tried to let it go, because once you actually kind of get in the game, it was fine. But then there was a level, I think it was the second act, third level, where I literally came into contact with a game-breaking bug. Like, it started clipping so bad, there was no way to finish it. There was no way. I could not play the game how bad it was clipping, because you need to be able to know and see what you're doing. And there was just no way. And I was like right at the ass end of the level. Like, because when I finally did get through it, because I turned it off, came back to it, and then beat it, like I was right there. If I'd have just gotten through that, boom, it would have.
Yeah, you would have been done.
Luckily, I was able to get in contact with the devs on their Discord. I let them know about it. They said they were aware. There is a patch coming for certain things that have been complained about, bugs and stuff like that. PC already has it. Consoles, it takes longer for patches to get approved. So it's coming, hopefully this week, but we'll see. So they're aware, and they were very kind about it. And you know what? This is also a learning lesson, because when they were just... The developer who responded, he was very kind. He was like, I apologize that you're having this problem. And like, he was just really like, he
his
hated
baby. He's sad that you're having problems with it. Yeah,
he was just like, I really hate that you're having to experience that. I wanted you to enjoy this game, yada yada. And I was like, dude, no worries. I just wanted you to be aware. And everybody out there, if your game doesn't work and you have access to let the developers know, don't be a dick about it. Just let them know. Right. They don't want their game to be broken. They want their game to be flawless for the people to play. Just let them know. And that's what I did. And I wasn't going to be like
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't going to be like, well, I paid X amount of money for this and I demand better. Oh, dude, I understand. It happens. Bugs happen. Just he's aware. So as I critique that, I guess I want it to be an awareness. If you were to go out and buy this game right now, be aware that bugs could exist, but the developers are aware and they are working on it. So I'm excited to see that. I was glad that I got a response from them, and they were very kind about it. They seem like really good people. Again, I don't want to say that this is a Hotline Miami clone. It's really not. It's much in the same way that Mario and Sonic could technically be considered the same type of game, but they are not the same. You see what I mean? They're both
their
platforming
own unique
games.
Spin on it, and it's
exactly.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say that this is something in that realm. I definitely recommend this game if you like a challenge. There may be an easy difficulty, but I'm not going to swear to that. I don't even know how you can make it
eventually.
easy. Yeah. So I don't think this is a game that was meant to be for that. This is for somebody who can do platforming, who can do those kind of quick, fast, lightning fast skill sets. if you like a challenge, if you like a game like that, I would recommend it. I despite my frustrations, it has not made me put it down. I have played games that I've just said, I'm not playing this again. This is stupid. This is not a poorly designed game. This is a well-designed game with challenges that have been well-designed and test my skills. And sometimes my skills just need to be poked a little bit until they get to where they need to be. So I recommend the game. I highly recommend it if you love a good challenge.
Excellent. Now,
My take.
it does sound like a lot of fun, man. It really does. I don't have those skills usually, so if I do, I usually am struggle bussing through those games. But I've had them still hold my attention, even if I am MFing myself every 10 seconds because I'm gonna keep dying, But I feel like I'm so much more satisfied when I beat something like that because it's a little bit out of my skill set. I'm like, hey, I did a thing. I learned and I figured it out, Well, excellent. So go poke them on Twitter, guys. Join their Discord if that's a game that you were interested in. And hopefully now you're even more so. If you were on the fence, hopefully Steven's either convinced you one way or the other, however you feel about your video games. But yeah, guys, that's our show. So thank you so much for listening. You can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash. You can send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram to view the weekly icon art that Steven puts so much time and love into. And you can support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred platform and even going to patreon.com/pencil and paper productions. I'm assuming that stayed the same, of course, because it is the YouTube. You can tell your friends to find us at the, what am I saying? Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo podcast now, which you can find on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and even iHeartRadio, I am told today. Woo-hoo. And you can also go to youtube.com/pencil and paper productions. And again, thank you for listening. I am Lacey Finley.
And I am Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.